I used to be a very shy, awkward kid that never felt like he fit in. I never got along with anyone in high school. I had a few friends. Girls never liked me, that's for sure. I knew that I never really had a chance with any of the hot girls in my classes. If I see a hot girl on the street when I was 18, 19, I knew I didn't have a chance. And I wasn't trying to delude myself into thinking I did. And maybe you're in a similar boat to where I was, and you have this feeling of not really fitting in, not feeling like you get along with everybody, feeling like you're kind of an outcast, you're an outsider. And maybe there are times where you want to say something to somebody you want to talk to, but you just can't bring yourself to do it because you feel like you don't belong. Well, I have news for you. In the last 40 days, I've approached at least one girl pretty much every day. And if I haven't approached a girl, I've at least talked to 5 to 6 people every single day for about 40 days. And as a guy that used to be this shy and awkward kid that was scared of what people thought of him, I can tell you that that feeling never goes away. It's always there somewhere. Even in the gym today, I saw a girl that was really hot, and I've seen her a lot, and we've even talked before. I didn't say anything because I was like, oh, she's like one of the cool kids. I couldn't say anything, and I hesitated. And it's that hesitancy, that self-doubt that makes you come off weird. And so I still come off weird as somebody that literally teaches guys how to be more social, how to get a better dating life. It's like you can still come off weird. That feeling of not belonging, it's still gonna be there. So what the fuck is the point of this? I'm not trying to make some doomer video where I make you feel like shit about yourself, but what I am doing is trying to give you a reality check and tell you like, man, you're trying to live a life that does not exist. Almost every guy that I know has some sort of limiting belief, some sort of weird feelings, some sort of feeling of awkwardness around a certain group of people. And there are some guys that just don't feel that. That's cool for them, but you're not one of those guys. You're watching dating advice videos on YouTube. And so if you're a guy that's watching dating advice videos on YouTube, then you're probably not the type of guy that can easily let go of other people's opinions. And there's gonna be ups and downs on this journey. Sometimes you're gonna really care what other people think. And sometimes you're not gonna give a single fuck. But what you have to understand is that that up and down is all part of the journey. And every single time you have one of those down phases, every single time you have one of those valleys, that is an opportunity for you to make yourself even more uncomfortable and get better. The last couple days, I'll give you guys some insight into my life. I go on lots of dates. I have my wife. I have a pretty cool fucking life, man. I'm really happy with where my life is. Meet a lot of women. It's cool. I have a business that I love. Get to inspire guys all the time. The Instagram's blowing up. It's super cool. But here's the thing. I still have really bad days. The last couple days, actually, in fact, I had some days where I almost didn't talk to anybody. I made a couple approaches. They were all super awkward. I was hesitating left and right, and I've made the promise to myself, and I think a lot of you guys know what this feels like. You make the promise to yourself that, oh man, I'm gonna be more social today. I'm gonna talk to the first person I see, and then you see that first person, you don't do it. You're like, fuck. And you start the day off fucking yourself in the ass, basically. And it's not a good feeling. And I've had a couple of those days. And so what can I do about that? Well, I'm definitely not gonna beat myself up about it and feel like, oh, well, I should have this figured out because I'm a dating coach and blah, blah, blah. No, every guy that has had these problems in their life, they're always gonna resurface. They're always gonna come back. So all you can do is focus on what do you do when these problems come back? When these problems of, I don't feel good enough, I'm hesitating when I talk to people, I'm not owning who I am, how do I come back from that? And there's a 2-step process that I found that's really, really good, okay? So when you're on this journey, realize it is a journey. I got laid for the first time from cold approach a month into cold approach. And this is after like literally hundreds of approaches. It took me hundreds of approaches to get laid. I was taking insane amounts of action, okay? I didn't get my first girlfriend from cold approach until like 2 years into cold approach. And if you're starting out on this journey, it's probably a long process, okay? Like no bullshit, this is gonna be kind of a long process. Buying courses, investing in yourself, getting coaching, getting mentorship, getting scammed by some fucking shit dating coach that's dog shit, and then finding out which ones are actually the best ones. Following red pill content for 3 years, realizing it doesn't work, switching to something else. You're always gonna feel like you're not making progress. And these are the 2 mindsets that are gonna keep you on track. 1, when these old limiting beliefs come up and you start feeling bad about yourself, the number 1 thing you need to do is to push yourself into more discomfort. Make yourself feel more of that. If you feel like you don't fit in, go to the bar or the club and make yourself feel more like you don't fit in. Try to fit in with a group and get kicked out of that group. Have them look at you awkwardly and be like, oh, fuck this guy. And realize that you are fine no matter what. You will be okay no matter what the fuck happens. That's the first thing. The second thing you need to do is drop your goddamn ego and take the minimum viable action. This was the hardest thing for me to do, especially when I started coaching, when my game would get into a down phase, or I'd start feeling weird about myself or not liking myself as much, losing some of that self-acceptance that I had built up. I never went back to that down phase. I always felt like I had to make a really cool direct approach, be indirect, do the exact good game thing. And at the end of the day, that was all ego. It was all ego. And I let my own personal growth, my own emotional growth, and becoming a better, stronger person, a better leader, a more attractive guy, I let that fall by the wayside because I was so focused on protecting my ego. And that is the biggest problem. That's when guys get fat and out of shape. That's when guys go out of their way to make excuses. Like, there's a guy in my school community right now, $54 a month. I'll coach you personally, by the way, in the description. There's a guy in my school community that left a comment that said, I'm not going to approach until it's spring, until May, because I don't want to approach in a winter coat. What the fuck? Dude, talk about protecting your ego. Shit is fucking crazy. Like, what are you doing talking about, I don't want to approach in a winter coat? What the fuck? And his excuse was, I've never seen a dating coach approach in a winter coat. And he didn't do any fucking critical thinking to think, maybe that's because all the dating coaches just live in Miami. Most of them live in Miami. I'm in Nashville. I've made tons of approaches when it's cold, because it gets cold for like 2 months here. I know tons of European dating coaches. They make approaches in the winter. That is how it works. You have to make approaches in the winter, or else your dating life is dead for 6 months at a time. It's fucked. So those are 2 actions you can take when you have these down phases. But what you absolutely cannot do is tell yourself, oh, well, I'll just wait it out. Oh, well, I'll just focus on some different ideology. The worst thing you can possibly do is switch ideologies. If you're watching my channel and you're on this, I want to improve my social skills, become a social guy that doesn't take himself too seriously. I want to be a really relaxed, cool, charismatic person that talks to people at the drop of a hat. What you don't want to do is be like, man, I didn't get laid within the first 6 months of trying this stuff on my own. I'm going to go try Red Pill. I'm going to go try to make $1 million in the next 2 years. Because if you can't stick with this approach to dating and life, you're not going to stick with the gym for 3 years. You're not going to stick with going out. You're not going to stick with a business for 5 to 10 years to get rich. And then when you actually do get rich, you're going to take yourself too fucking seriously because you're going to be like, oh, it should be easy. That's why you need to stick with one. That's like kind of a rant on why you need to stick with one approach to dating. Like, that's why guys, they switch from cold approach to dating advice online, like online dating. They switch all over the place because they don't want to go through the bullshit of actually improving certain aspects of their life, because they stop seeing those, they start getting diminishing returns. But those diminishing returns, those small gains, that's what actually gets your life to that 99 percentile. So that's today's video. Hopefully it helps you guys that feel like you're left out, you're stuck. I really got hyped up for this one. I really wanted to talk about this. So I will see you guys. Oh, almost dropped you. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.